I'm kidding. I'm definitely going to say Skyscraper because you want to know why? It's got better songs, 10 times better production. It's actually more crafted. And you can tell a lot of time and effort was put into Skyscraper, whereas OU812 was definitely thrown together. Now, I'm joking around when I said Dead Heat, but yeah, Skyscraper is definitely the better album. And I actually, with the exception of a few moments here and there, and mainly all that synth, it does hold up pretty well. One thing I really discovered on this album, and I would love to talk to Billy more about this, but I would love to get the demos for this album because I would love to hear what Billy was talking about. I bet you that's the album I really want to hear, but there is some great songs here, and there are some really strong, shining moments as Dave as a solo artist here that you cannot deny. You really can't. Van Halen really skated by with OU812. They got away with murder. It sold well. They had hit singles. It continued the gravy train for them, but it was nowhere near the album that 5150 was, and it was nowhere near the album For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge was. So it was sort of a thin bridge in between those two albums that they skated by with. Skyscraper was definitely a much more of a strong statement. Dave tried a lot of things. One thing you could always say about Dave, he never does the same shit. He really does go for something different. He always has a little twist, a different this. He's doing a Vegas tune. He's doing an acoustic tune. He's doing a pop tune. He's doing a blues tune. He's doing this cover, that cover. I mean, he does a lot of different things. He tries a lot of different things, and I have to give him credit for that. He's never boring. He's always entertaining. Yeah, there was a little bit lighter on the pen here with some of the lyrics, that's for sure. But I really think that as an artist in general, he really aims to do his best every time. You know, look, it was a successful album. It had his biggest original single on it here, and you know, the tour was great. I saw the tour. It was a lot of fun. You know, what can you say? You know, times change. I mean, he let a lot of time go in between this and the next album, that's for sure. It was like another lifetime by the time the next album came out. And, you know, and things started getting a little dicey with the tour. We'll get into that when we do that on another podcast. But it was sad to see that. He always has strong effort. I have never gotten a David Lee Roth album that I just think absolutely sucks. I really don't. And I listened to them back, and there's a lot of layers to them. There's a lot of good stuff there. And this one, I urge people to look back on because there's some good stuff in here. There's some. If you're a Steve Vai fan, forget it. This is essential. I mean, this is definitely essential. Some of his playing in here is insane.
Oh, yeah, he shines.
Yeah, but you know what I think people should really do is maybe take a few of these tracks like Damn Good and Hina and Bottom Line and throw them on a mix and give them a little air and let them marinate with some of the other tracks like From Eat 'Em and Smile and Little Ain't Enough, and it could make a really good mix. There's some really good songs here. In fact, I really contest some of the track listings he's had on the two best ofs he put out. I would have put some tracks on this that definitely would have made it on there that didn't see the light of day in some of those.
Yeah, I agree with you. And in fact, I think if you take some of the more rocking songs from Eat 'Em and Smile, and you take some of the more rocking songs from Skyscraper, you've got yourself a damn good album there.
And that song, Damn Good, man, what a sleeper. That people don't realize what a great... That should be on the radio. It's just sad that didn't work out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that should have been the second single. I don't know, but... Maybe because it didn't follow the classic ballad formula, which was a romantic theme with a big sweeping chorus. You know, Damn Good is definitely more laid back and chill. Beautiful guitar work. It lets the song breathe a little bit. There's definitely reminiscent and it didn't have a video. I mean, you know, there's a lot of elements here, but that song...
You know, it wasn't a metal ballad.
No, not at all. I mean, it literally is an acoustic blues ballad, almost. It's got a little blues touch to it. It's not a traditional blues, but it definitely has a little Zeppelin-esque guitar there. It's definitely nostalgic. It's a look back. You know what? It's one of those songs, Dave, that if someone use that in a movie that would work well with the theme of the movie, it could almost have a revival because it really has a nice feel. And it's almost like the type of song that people would be like, oh my God, that was David Lee Roth. It really... Yeah,
no, true.
Yeah,
true.
It's something like that.
But, but the album's good. It's a keeper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always been one of my top 3 Roth albums.
Yeah.
And it's certainly better than OU 812, which has always been towards the bottom of my Van Halen.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. And they really got away with Murder on that album. They really rode their popularity on that. Those guys were on fumes when they were making OU 812.
To be fair, they had a lot of hits off that album.
Yeah, I know. They had 2 major hits off their catalog, Finish What You Started and When It's Love. And they both had popular videos. They were both big singles. And, they rode that wave. Wave. Whereas Dave, if he had one more hit, it might have lifted this album a little more. But I guess Stand Up was not the song to put out as a second.
No, he could never get that second hit.
Yeah, and that video.
From the EP.
Yeah, I know. Oh, the EP did well with the second hit, but yeah, you're right. He was never good with the second single. He was always good with the first single, and then, the second single always was the limp dick of the bunch.
Right.
To put it poetically. All right, we'll end on that. Well, listen, we are continuing our 30th anniversary Skyscraper episode. We are going to be doing an interview with Magic Moreno, which is the mixer and engineer of the album, followed by my interview with Steve Vai, which we spoke to him recently about his reflection on Skyscraper 30th anniversary. Take a listen.
Well, it's all balance. A lot of times, I'm up at dawn. I get up at 5, 6. I bring my bicycles with me on the road. I tie the hair up under the hat. And, you can't dress like Little Richard and sail down the middle of Main Street and go, hi, how come they're looking at me, right?
Hi, I'm Jackie Martling. My brand new autobiography, The Joke Man, Bow to Stern, is being released. Go to JackieTheJokeman.com. Great holiday gifts, easy to wrap. I guarantee you are going to love this book.
This is Greg Renoff, author of Van Halen Rising, and you're listening to the Dave and Dave Unchained podcast.
Need a laugh? Check out the Funny How Comedy Podcast, which focuses on upbeat conversations with legendary comedians. It's free on Spreaker and iTunes. Check us out on Facebook at Funny How Comedy Podcast, on Twitter at Funny How Podcast, on Instagram at Funny How Comedy Podcast, or email us at funnyhowcomedypodcast@gmail.com.
What you see in the videos are the classic stereotypic. You put that kind of a character under the same sarcastic eyes, same kind of sarcastic lens in the microscope as all the other characters. I play the part of Buck Picasso, my own 500-pound manager. Hey, it's healthy. It's good to have a little of that there. The kind of women that I like are, very much the opposite of that. I like women who are strong, who have good, strong spirit, who have that same kind of fury, same kind of sense of humor, and who want to go on to do their own things as well, not servants. And you see a lot of that in rock videos. So, hey, let's show it up for what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest for our Skyscraper 30th anniversary special for our end of the year episode, our last one for 2018. This gentleman was both the mixer and engineer on the album. His name is Magic Moreno, and we are happy to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are excited to talk to you about this album. Dave and I have been listening to it for 30 years and enjoying it. So wanted to start off, how did you initially get involved in the project?
It was a production that I was doing for Steve Vai's girlfriend at the time, wife now, Pia. I was producing out of A&M Records. I think we were originally doing Vixen. Yes. It was Vixen, myself, and my partner at that time, I believe, was Jack White. And we were producing them, and Pia was the bassist. Oh. And it turns out that I had gone over to their house to do some engineering because the studio was there. Steve Vai liked my work. I believe that was exactly the way that it came to pass.
Okay. How familiar were you with David Lee Roth's music?
Well, you know, for years and years, having listened to Van Halen and everything that dropped, and also prior to that, I've had a number of careers for myself that kind of ran concurrently. I'm a record mixer, record producer, but also I work in the post-production film industry, doing that and along with performing. I believe a little bit right after the album, I became the lead singer for Treason. But that's another story. But all of these avenues here are connected to the way it came to be. Once I had signed on to the album, well, it was absolutely great. I mean, I loved everything that David had done and everything that Van Halen had done as well.
So when you signed on, how did they describe the project to you?
I don't think they did. I think Steve put me in touch with Dave and Pete Angelis, and they said, okay, what do you think? We're going to be, I don't think our first studio, forget exactly where we were. I don't think it was Capitol, maybe Sandcastle. No, it was before the mix time. But anyway, said, all right, we'll see you at 9 a.m.
Okay.
And there I was.
Was there anything in specific of your past work that they enjoyed that they thought you would be good for this particular project?
If I were going to say anything humbly, it would just be maybe my treatment of rock and roll.
Okay.
Being able to mix good rock drums against guitars that have to be mixed quite on top, and just knowing how to fit mixes together. I think Steve understood that I knew that. I'm a vocalist as well because I'm a singer.
Right.
So I ended up doing backgrounds on the album as well.
Right.
Yeah. And I said, what else? Oh, we had quite a time, Dave, into his martial arts, and I have been a regional champion as a saber fencer.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so we would take breaks and have times doing that. But lest I get away from your point, I don't know, it just kind of worked. I guess it helps if you work with a fan, which I was.
Right.
And if you have a good musicianship, and my music theory and musicology was quite high because of my early past. So I was able to relate with Steve about certain things that, could be termed a bit abstract. But just in terms of having the overlay of engineering and musicology on top of each other, I think that made it fun for all of us. It was real nice.
Did you hear any pre-recorded demos before the album was recorded?
No, not as such. Pretty much some songs had already been put together in certain fashions at another studio, and I forget what studio that was at or what engineer that was. But I just basically caught up on what they had done.
Okay.
And what they would like to have done differently. Pretty much just jumped in.
Okay.
I don't know. It was quite a nice fit.
The credits read that it was produced by David Lee Roth and co-produced by Steve Vai. Did you work with the both of them equally, or were you working more with one than the other? What was the working relationship like with those guys?
It was both equally, because as we were recording guitars, or Greg Bissonette on drums, or Sheehan on bass, Dave was always there. And between the two of them, we were finding ways that we wanted to be innovative and unique. So even if it was somebody else overdubbing, the two of them would be there. We'd be working together. When Steve was doing his guitars, sometimes Dave was not there because we did some of his guitars at his studio out in the valley. But again, during Dave's vocals and doing all the background vocals, we're again all three together. So for the most part, I think it was, continually both keeping track of everything. Steve, in his own inimitable way, would annotate things completely and was very, very methodical and detail-oriented about every aspect of the planning of it. So from the administrative standpoint, I think maybe Steve took a little bit more. From the creative standpoint, both of them equally.
Okay.
And, okay. Like that.
Were you okay with Steve being so methodical, or were you like, oh, my God, is he going to plan out every single step of the way?
No. Actually, I welcomed it because I'm a producer from way back, too. And in order to actually have things come out the desired way, you have to plan. And just like any endeavor, you have to plan for the worst-case scenario, how this is going to work, how that's going to work. But also, Steve has a very beautiful spiritual side to him. And I have been into metaphysics for 45 years. Well, 45 years now. Back then, probably about 25. So there was yet another aspect to understanding. Sometimes, he would want it to sound a certain etherical way. And he's such a great acrobatics person on guitar that we were able to really do some imaginative and esoteric type things that are abstractly approached. And that was a beautiful thing. As far as him being too technical, no, not a chance. I have a reputation. Remember back then everything was on 2-inch analog tape.
Sure.
24 track. I've always prided myself on, having just the perfect timing for different machines to do intricate punches. So while he's playing